Back with you in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. We did a customer flight up to Sandpoint, came over here for some fuel, getting ready to depart. We're going to do an aircraft review on the Citation M2. It's an airplane we got a lot of experience with. We fly a lot, so we're going to take you through a review of this airplane on the way back to Long Beach. We're climbing off of Coeur d'Alene out of 12.5. We're going all the way to 410 on our way back to Long Beach. A little bit of history about the M2. This airplane's been around for a long time. They originally certified it, I think, in the early 90s as the Citation Jet 525. And they improved it to the CJ, then the CJ1 Plus. I'm sorry, CJ1, CJ1 Plus. They stretched it to the CJ2. CJ2 Plus, CJ3, CJ3 Plus, CJ4. So there's a lot of different airplanes derived off the 525 type. And it's been very successful. They stopped making the CJ, or the CJ1 Plus. I'm guessing in 2008, maybe 2010, I can't remember. I think conventional wisdom was that they were going to develop the Mustang into a more modern airplane that they could stretch, but with the downturn, they decided to ultimately bring this airplane back, the 525, into the M2. They put G3000 in it. They turned up the thrust on the motors a little bit, redid the interior, the panel, and made it to a really nice modern airplane. They put little winglets on it, and it's been real popular for Cessna. It competes with the Honda Jet, Phenom 100, and they knew they're in the $5.5 million range list price, and they've been popular. I think they're right in there close with Honda Jet on deliveries. And so late 2013, early 2014 is when they brought this airplane back, and they've been delivering probably 30 to 40 airplanes a year since. And we've had a lot of success with it with our customers. Works well, economical, comfortable, great avionics. It's just been a really good airplane. As I mentioned, the avionics in the M2 are G3000, which are popular in a lot of airplanes. The Honda Jet has it, the Phenom has it, Phenom 300. I'm not sure about the 100, but I'm pretty sure the 300. I know the 300 has it. And they're in their, I think, pretty much the second iteration of this software-wise. They just updated the software. The new M2s actually have better screens. It's kind of the next generation. G3000, faster redraw, higher resolution, I think. The software is upgradable to anybody that has a G3000, so we just see different fonts, a few different features with performance, a lot of smaller improvements. And then the performance on these M2s, we got a pretty hot day here, but you know, we're climbing out at 220 knots and usually get, right now we're only getting about 1,000 feet a minute, but normally you'd probably be on ISA, you'd be at 1,500 feet a minute or more. When we get to altitude, typically on these distances, we'll cruise them at 41,000 feet and get probably for the first hour 390 knots and then pushing 400 knots depending on the temperature. And on 100, 110 gallons an hour in cruise. And we got some weather coming up, and on the way here, at 41,000 feet, we're on top of all that stuff.
5 Kilo Bravo, climb maintain flight level 340.
340, 5 Kilo Bravo.
That's one real advantage that these jets have that fly high, is you get on top of much of this stuff. And if you were in the 30s, low 30s, you would have had kind of I think a busy time circumnavigating and dealing with clouds and ice and IMC and bumpy rides. So it's one great thing about being able to go to these altitudes. And my opinion is they're not that much more money to, if anything, certainly to maintain, and you don't get the speeds. And so I'm a big proponent of these entry-level single pilot jets. I think a lot of people think they're a lot more expensive to operate than they really are, and maintain, particularly maintain. We do maintenance on a lot of them, and we think they're really inexpensive to maintain. But all the way around, it's a very simple airplane to operate in terms of flying it. Great avionics, great autopilot, and really good performance. Like I said, 400 knots is a real number that you're going to see in this airplane frequently or close. This particular M2 is 2017. I think one of the first or second videos I did, I flew with the owner of this airplane, Matt Keegan, who still owns it, flies it a lot, and he came out of a Baron into this plane and has really got a lot out of it. It's got like 1,100 hours on it, I think now. Been pretty maintenance free for the most part. If you're looking at
number 525 Kilo Bravo, climb maintain flight level 410.
410, 5 Kilo Bravo.
If you're looking at the competition, obviously used M2s, Phenom 100s, they're let's say 380 knots, a little bit different cabin arrangement, probably not quite the performance of the M2. Honda Jet is real close in there, a little bit faster, a little bit bigger cabin. A little bit more range, but more money. And I recently had a chance to fly the Honda Jet, and I was impressed with that airplane. And now they've just added this Elite S that's going to add some payload and some upgrades to the G3000. So it's going to be. And I think the Honda Jets are delivering more than Cessna on M2s, but they're very close. Some of the turboprops, like these late model TBMs, are as expensive, and we were talking on the way up here about like I mentioned before, with some of this weather ahead of us, that you just can't get up to these altitudes. You get on top of 90% of the weather, and so that's a nice feature, particularly just like today, what we're going to be going through here in a minute. We're out at 26, and in a turboprop like a TBM, we'd probably be leveling pretty soon, and looking ahead, we'd be right in the thick of it. Nothing really bad on the satellite or on the radar picture, but still rain and bumps and clouds and potentially ice. But we're going to be on top of it. So anyway, just a really great airplane, does well against the competition, very popular. I think customers are happy with it. With the experience we have, it's been an exceptional airplane. We're leveling now at 410, and I've got this timer that started when we were in air, right at 30 minutes, and we got pretty much a direct climb to 410. It's +5 here, but we were +10 climbing through about 320. and then it started to taper off to +5, so it was hot pretty much all the way up. 30 minutes to 410, and pretty good performance in my opinion, even at the hot temperatures. We're light, not light, but we were probably 300 pounds under gross weight when we took off, maybe 400. So we'll let the airplane accelerate, and then we'll give you another view of what we're getting in terms of true airspeed and fuel burn. Level at 41 now and accelerate it out to 390 knots on 700 pounds total fuel burn an hour, which equates to just a little more than 100 gallons an hour. ISA +5. It shows you that you'll get, pretty close to 400 knots. Now, cruising another hour, we'll get lighter and push up to probably, 395 to 400 knots, even at this temperature. So, it does the numbers that Cessna advertises on this thing. And I've got a lot of time in M2s cruising at 41, and they always make speed. So, nice performance. And we're gonna check back in as we're coming into Long Beach for landing and wrap this up. It turned pretty early though, doesn't it? Landing lights on, speeds are up. Landing flaps. Should turn some defog on.
$500.
Gears down, flaps.
Autopilot.
Localizer's off just a little, isn't it?
So back on the ground in Long Beach after a flight from Coeur d'Alene. Hope you got a good overview of the M2. It's a great airplane. We do a lot of flying in M2s and got a lot of experience with it, like I said. And that's a good example of what it can do, and hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.